Hello, this is Anthony. Let's walk and talk. So today I'm in another park, as you find often when I do these little walks, just exploring the city and enjoying all that it has to offer. And today's download and discussion is going to be about free will. Free will and the personal responsibility that comes with it. You see, you are a soul, and you've incarnated here to learn and to have experiences. And in order for you to have the best opportunity to learn and grow, you are offered in this universe free will. Free will is a universal right. And free will is not something that can be impinged. However, I think that in understanding that and why it's important to have a discussion about the personal responsibility around it is because free will, it is your right, is your choice, and is your decision. However, you can very easily give your free will up or even be manipulated into giving up your free will. You see, those things can happen, but they are still in the end an illusion, and I'm going to explain to you why. You see, when you walk this planet and you are open to and understand some of the principles that are offered, you can do one of two things. You can either choose to accept those principles, and you can choose to embody them, embrace them, and accept the things that may or may not come with them. Or you can choose another path. And a lot of times, most people, they choose the other path. Well, what's the other path? The other path is the illusion that you give up your free will. Meaning, oh, well, I live in this situation, or I live in this circumstance, and let's have a seat here, and I don't have a choice. Well, you see, that's where the personal responsibility comes in. You see, with free will, you always have a choice. The problem is that when you choose to be involved in certain dynamics, for instance, you choose to be involved in certain friend groups, you choose to be involved or stay in certain mindsets. Essentially what you're doing is you're offering your free will to have that experience. This even includes and goes all the way down to the experience of family. You see, family can be one of the most difficult experiences to have on this plane, because the illusion is that it is so tied to you that it is inescapable. And so in many ways, your circumstance becomes your situation if you so choose. But remember, you have free will. You do not have to choose that. You see, the reason I say personal responsibility is because on this plane, you have a personal responsibility to self, to you, to your path. Now, that doesn't mean that you get to violate others' free will. Everyone has free will. That doesn't mean that you shirk all actions and responsibilities brought to you. No, in fact, certain things that you take on and accept, you accept it for purpose and for reason. Now, what I mean by that is that you can operate within a certain framework as long as you choose to operate in that framework. But because you do have free will, you can choose to exit out of that framework whenever you choose. And that's in many, many ways. That's in any way, actually. You see, most people who walk on the planet, they view themselves more as participants in this world. And when you're a participant, in essence, you are also can be viewed as a victim, meaning the world just happens to you, and all things around you happen to you, and you just deal with the circumstances as they come up, and you allow your ego to keep reign over you. You worry about all the possible consequences, and you try to come up with all sorts of scenarios to overcome those consequences, not really understanding and realizing that the consequences and scenarios you come up with may never arise. And it ends up being a lot of wasted energy, and it ends up not actually presenting the true authentic self of you, of who you are. You see, many people will choose to stay involved in certain dynamics, like family dynamics or friend groups, even though the path doesn't resonate with them. The path that they don't feel led on the path, but they are too afraid to take on that, what we just mentioned, personal responsibility of free will. What do I mean by that? Meaning to accept whatever the illusion of consequence is in society when you choose not to follow the herd, when you understand, accept, and see your path going in a different direction that does not align with everyone else. But instead of ignoring that path, you choose your free will, you choose yourself, and you choose to follow your path, regardless of where it leads. You see, even on that path, you're going to be tested daily. You see, I do honor my free will. I do make choices for self. I do stand within my my power, my sovereignty. But again, that is it's a different path, but no different than some others. I just stay true to self. I don't choose to follow the edicts of others, and that can create things at times, because most people on the planet, most think we don't, it's difficult for us to understand things like unconditional love. So anytime you become involved in different dynamics, friend groups or relationships or family groups, you begin to understand there comes that conflict between the illusion of love, because it's not unconditional, and free will. And your personal responsibility should be to self, and if it's to self, then you should not allow your free will to be impinged. You see, when you choose to participate in any type of a situation that doesn't resonate with you, let's say you choose to participate in a specific community or societal community, culture, and it doesn't resonate with you, it doesn't align with what you feel like your values are, but you choose to put your needs aside to strictly participate in the needs of where you choose to be. Essentially, you are opening your free will up to, falling in line with everyone else. So you have free will, but you've essentially given up your free will for what you might view as the greater good. But at the end of the journey, you have to ask yourself this: you're here for a particular reason. You're here for a particular purpose. And if you are not being and serving in your true, vulnerable, and authentic self, are you really being true to yourself? When you allow others to dictate your direction, are you embodying free will? Are you being true to self? Everybody has to answer that question for themselves. I can answer that question from my perspective, but my perspective is not your perspective. Remember, we have roughly 8 billion people on the planet, which means that we have 8 billion perspectives on this planet, not to mention all of the beings that have come and gone before us and their perspectives. And the purpose around perspective is to give us a larger view of the whole in order for us all to understand better universal consciousness, the all, self, the universe, source. That's why we all have these different perspectives, different angles of view of what life is and these lessons that we are here to learn. And when you choose to not take the personal responsibility of free will, when you choose to not walk the path you feel called to walk, essentially what you're doing is you're taking that perspective and you're trying to meld that perspective in with everyone else's, and it's not giving a true indicator of what is possible, what life could be, what life is, and why we're here. You see, some of the greatest names in history have been people who chose their own path, people who embodied their purpose, people who embodied free will and their sovereignty. They wrote books, they created songs, they created, in some cases, different governmental systems and art and all the things that make the spice of life so beautiful, that, as one might say, weave this tapestry of life into a beautiful piece of art. But what say you? How do you feel about free will? Do you think that, do you understand the concept of free will, and do you feel like it is something that you embody in your life? As always, if you enjoy this content, please like, share, and subscribe. I am truly grateful. Until I talk to you again, peace, love, light. I hope you have the most amazing day.